All right, so today we're going to talk about a system called TALON. And it's this really fascinating look at how data can be used to protect one of the most important and fragile supply lines on the entire planet. Let's dive in. So, here's a huge question for you. How exactly do you go about protecting a lifeline in one of the toughest environments in the world? We're talking about places where a single landslide or a bridge collapse isn't just some minor inconvenience, it's a massive threat to national security. How do you even begin to get ahead of something like that? Well, to answer that, we've got to take a trip to the Tawang Defense Theater in northeast India. This is a region that's strategically critical, but its geography, its very landscape, makes it incredibly vulnerable.
You know, the best way to think about these roads is like the area's circulatory system. They are the arteries and veins that carry everything, supplies, troops, you name it. And if these arteries get clogged by snow or worse, totally severed by a landslide, the entire defense posture of the region is put at risk. It is a constant, relentless battle against the terrain itself.
And this right here shows you just how complex it all is. It's not one road we're talking about. It's a whole four-tier logistics chain. It starts way back at a main depot in Tezpur, then it flows through these intermediate depots, then to emergency caches, and finally, all the way up to the most remote forward posts. A break literally anywhere along this chain could be catastrophic.
So, in the face of this massive, high-stakes problem, a new solution was developed. And that's where we meet the hero of our story, the TALON system.
TALON stands for Tawang Adaptive Logistics and Operational Networks. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but what it does, its purpose is crystal clear: to analyze, to simulate, and to figure out how to make this absolutely critical road network as tough and as resilient as it can possibly be.
To put it really simply, TALON is kind of like a digital crystal ball. It's designed to peer into the future, to predict all the different ways this lifeline could snap, and then to game out the absolute best ways to reinforce it before that happens. The key here is that it's proactive, not reactive.
So how in the world does it do that? Okay, this is where it gets really clever. TALON doesn't just look at one potential problem. No, it stress tests the entire network against 7 completely distinct scenarios of disruption.
That's right, 7. It's not just waiting for something to go wrong, it's actively trying to figure out every possible way things could go wrong, in a really structured and comprehensive way.
And just look at the sheer breadth of this analysis. It models the simple stuff, like a single bridge failing or a landslide. But then it gets into these really complex situations, like number 3. What if the top 5 most critical road segments fail all at the same time? Or check out number 6, correlated failure. That's where it calculates the odds of, say, heavy monsoon rains causing both a landslide and washing out a bridge. It's this all-encompassing approach that makes TALON so incredibly powerful.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing, right? But how does it actually work? What's the engine driving all these incredibly complex calculations and predictions?
Well, at its core, TALON gives every single piece of that road network a criticality score. And that score is a weighted number based on these 4 key factors. The biggest piece of the pie, at 40%, is connectivity loss. Basically, how many places get totally cut off if this one road fails. Then it looks at how much travel time goes up, overall efficiency, and of course, how long the detours are.
But here's what makes this whole thing so legit. It's not just some abstract mathematical model. TALON is completely grounded in reality. The system is fed real-world data. We're talking actual repair times from the Border Roads Organization, historical data on landslide and avalanche zones, and detailed digital elevation models to understand the terrain. It's that on-the-ground data that makes its predictions so trustworthy.
And I just love this little detail from the system's documentation. It says, the output files are the cache. It speaks to this really elegant, simple design. There's no black box, no hidden magic. The results of every single simulation are just saved as simple files. It means the system is fast, it's transparent, and it's easy for anyone to understand. The data is the memory. It's brilliant.
So, all this analysis is great. It's fascinating. But what's the point? What's the end game here? Well, the ultimate goal is to use all these insights to build a stronger, more robust, and just plain smarter road network.
And this is where TALON's true power just snaps into focus. It lets planners play what if. So on the left, you've got the before state. A key bridge fails and suddenly forward posts are completely cut off. But with TALON, a planner can simulate building a new road. And boom, you see the after column. Isolation is way down, travel times are way better. They can test the solution before spending a single dollar or moving a single rock.
So ultimately, this all gets boiled down into actionable intelligence. Talon doesn't just spit out a bunch of raw numbers. It provides clear answers. It pinpoints the exact single points of failure. It recommends specific road upgrades. It even badges every single road segment with a simple rating on how good its alternate routes are. And then it wraps all of this up in one-click reports for the people who actually have to make the decisions.
So really, the big lesson from Talon is that our most critical lifelines don't just have to be left vulnerable to fate. By turning real-world data into a kind of digital twin, we can find the weakest links and we can fix them before they break. And if this can be done for a road network in the Himalayas, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other lifelines could we protect this way? Our power grids, our water supplies, our communication networks? The question isn't just what can we protect, but what are we waiting for?